Room service if I like, I order twice. Hibachi, got the gravy on the rice. Rolling in
Pittsburgh Steelers fans, welcome into another edition of the Steelers Q&A podcast. This is a live show on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter on Sunday nights. I hope you are able to join live. If you're not, we do have the audio recording of the show wherever you get your podcasts, through Steel Curtain Network, on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, you name it. We've got it on your favorite podcast station. iHeart is a big one now as well. We're there, and I'm here. So I know you guys missed me last week. I'm sure of it. Thanks to Brian for stepping in last minute. I had a trip back from family for a little mini vacation, if you will, to see off my brother-in-law to Air Force Academy, or not Air Force Academy. I keep saying that, but basic training, in San Antonio. So we were over where he lives in Eastern North Carolina to see him off, and it was a good time. But I was not going to make it back in time for a show Sunday night. So I asked Brian, man, I totally forgot to schedule anybody. Can you hop on? And he was gracious to do so, even though I think he was not feeling his best at that time. So thanks to Brian. That's a bad dude. And he took care of me, and I appreciate it. But I missed you guys. Glad to be back. Hey, Afton. Hey, Kathy. Hey, PJ. That's funny. That's the name of my brother-in-law who just went off to basic. So PJs of the world unite here tonight. George T is in the chat. Thanks for coming in, everybody. Looking forward to seeing who else will join us. There's an Art here. Hey, Art. How's it going? I am going solo tonight. We're not going to have a crazy show tonight. It's going to be a lot of fun, though. We're going to answer some questions. I've got 5 questions that I want to answer and pose to the chat. So I'm going to start with the first one. Let's see if I can do this. I'm going to post it as a comment in the comment section. And I can't remember where all this comes up, but I'll talk about it too. So the first question is, who will be the breakout star of the 2025 season for the Steelers? I think this is a fun question to ask, and I think that there's a lot of different ways you could go with this, right? So when I was thinking about this pre-show, I was looking at maybe some guys who have underperformed or have not had the role that they're going to in 2025 in previous years. So I think that that's going to be kind of the direction I lean for this, but you could also go with a guy like DK Metcalf, right? Who has never played it down for the Pittsburgh Steelers. You could go with, one of the rookies even. And I wanted to steer clear of the rookies because I think that I can find one of those guys for a different question in this. One of the players I really want to mention here is already making his way into the chat. But let me pop up my question so everybody can see it. As we're getting ready here, and everybody jump in and give me your answer, and we will start popping these up as they come in. The question is, who will be the breakout star of the 2025 season for the Steelers? Now, let's look at this from a need-based perspective first. Who do the Steelers need to turn into a breakout star for 2025? This was one of the first people that came to mind. George T is on top of it. Hope it's Roman Wilson. Absolutely. Would that not be just perfect for what the Steelers need in 2025? Roman Wilson is going to have every opportunity this offseason to jump in and claim a wide receiver 2 type role on this offense. And if he can do it, then that would eliminate a huge area of concern for Steelers fans. It would allow guys like Calvin Austin III, who Bree 240 has in here as an option, or 420, excuse me, CA3 at wide receiver 2. Yeah, one of these two guys, if they could be the breakout star for the Steelers in 2025, I don't know. I think that would be a huge boost to this team, and it would calm a lot of concerns for the future as well, as you're looking for your quarterback and who's going to come in and be the go-to guys at wide receiver, at pass catcher for whoever's going to be the quarterback of the future. So this year, DK Metcalf in town, obviously wide receiver 1, obviously the top target on this offense. Who steps in at wide receiver 2? Roman Wilson. If he is the breakout star of 2025, that would be fantastic. CA3 as well. He had kind of a breakout year last year. I'm not going to say breakout year. I'm going to say like maybe coming into his own, right? Or making the leap, if you will, type season where he was kind of an afterthought for me. I did not think that he was going to be anything more than just a gadget guy on this team. He proved he can be better than that. He's a good separator. The size is always going to be a question mark. It's always going to be a problem. Durability, Afton mentions CA3's durability. That could be an issue as well. But he did have a big step forward, Afton. I agree with that. And so I would love for him to be that as well. But I think even if we've seen the best of Calvin Austin III and what he brings to the table, that's better than I would have expected for him as a 4th-round pick and for the type of player he is. And I'm perfectly fine with that. The guy I'm really looking for in that wide receiver room is Roman Wilson. There's another comment in here that I want to get to. Let's see here. Where'd he go? Captain Underpants. Fantastic handle, by the way, Captain. Freiermuth. Yes. Star turn for Pat Freiermuth would be fantastic for 2025. It would answer a lot of questions about the pass catching core in a different way, right, than the wide receiver room. If Pat Freiermuth could be one of those top 7 or 8 tight ends in the league, then he can be a quote unquote wide receiver 2. He can be your second pass catcher on the team, and you feel good about that. And then the development of guys like Roman Wilson, Calvin Austin III, and etc. Rock Taylor, undrafted free agent, no expectations for him, but we'll see, right? You help all those guys because you put less pressure on them. If Freiermuth becomes the guy I think a lot of us think he can be, and the guy that the Steelers paid him to be just a couple years ago. So those are some great answers. It's not my answer though. Okay. My answer is a little different. And I want to see what you guys think about this. Who will be the breakout star of the 2025 season? If I'm looking at this as from a, who do the Steelers need to be the breakout star this year? And also who I think has the upside to do so, Broderick Jones. Offensive tackle Broderick Jones. That is the guy. If the Steelers could pick one guy on this team to become a superstar in 2025, to break out as a really good player, Broderick Jones has to be that guy. It needs to be Broderick Jones. We're always looking at the wide receivers. We're always looking at the flashy guys, the running backs, and the draft picks, right? No, this is a 1st-round draft pick from 3 years ago, and he needs to break out in 2025. They absolutely need him to do so. Do I think it's going to happen? That is a good question that I'm posing to myself, posing to you guys. Do we think that he can do it? I'm going to say that I think the upside is definitely there. It really is. The athleticism is definitely there. As a run blocker, I think he's going to be really good, really comfortable coming out of his stance in as a run blocker off the left side. And I think that he's going to grow as the season progresses into the player that I think we drafted him to be on that left side in pass pro as well. So remember, in college, he gave up 1 sack his final 2 years of college, and he came in to the NFL as a fairly raw pass protector. That was all athleticism. That was all just, I'm bigger and better and stronger than you. He needs to get better technically. Moving back to the left side hopefully does that for him. Still have my questions about Pat Meyer, whether he can get that guy ready, right? That's the big question from this offseason. Why didn't they do that? That's what I want to know. So Broderick Jones, though, is my pick for this question, but I appreciate the other ones. Roman Wilson's a great one. CA3 is a good one. Pat Freiermuth's a good one. I like it. I like it a lot. And then if I had to throw a guy out on defense, Can we see Joey Porter Jr. take one more step? I would love that because I think he's a good player. I think he's a good corner, but he's not quite that lockdown guy that we wanted him to be yet. And I think that if that's on the way, then that would be fantastic as well. So that draft class, the Broderick Jones, JPJ draft class, we need some stuff to hit there. I think here soon. And I would love for that to happen. All right, let's see here. Going back to Broderick Jones real quick. PJ Gildernew. He has the talent and the skill, but does he have the devotion? That's on him, right? Got to see it from him. I think he's going to get there. I think that now he's back playing where he wants to play, where he was drafted to play. That's going to help with his motivation. I did not like the Steelers' handling of Broderick Jones. I really didn't. They moved off Dan Moore Jr. too late, in my opinion. Even though he played well last year, they should have been given the guy you drafted to be your long-term solution there, the snaps there. That's just me. But offensive line and the deployment of that from a coaching perspective has always been fishy since Mike Munchak has not been in town. I don't know if this comment's directed at me, but if you're saying I look like Ben Roethlisberger, crazy crack at TV, maybe maybe you are a little crazy. I don't know. Anybody else think this? Let's see. Good stuff here. Okay. Next question. And this is fun because I AI generated these. All right. I had a specific direction I wanted to go with this, but I was like, hey, yo, Chat GPT, how can I put together 5 questions to answer that are big impact questions for the 2025 season? This is generated here. Now, the next one is less fun. It's who's most likely to regress in 2025. And I'm going to put it up in the chat here as well. Who's most likely to regress in 2025? So let me know. Let me know your thoughts. I'm going to go ahead and set the question up here. Who was kind of a standout player last year? Who was really, really good last year that we're thinking probably takes a step back in 2025? Who's coming off that podium a little bit? Who doesn't quite have it? Maybe they were a flash in the pan, or maybe they outplayed their status. Who fits that description here? I've already got some coming in. This is good stuff already. I'll bring it up. Well, first let me bring up the question. Sorry. Who's most likely to regress in 2025? Who is that player? What category is this falling under? Let's get this one answered. Here, got some answers coming in. PJ says Minkah. Okay. I would argue that he regressed last year, or he's been kind of slowly regressing. So, but I like this one too. Maybe he just completely falls off. Maybe the splash plays aren't there as they haven't been the last couple of years, and he starts to not take away things over the middle of the field like he's been able to do the last few years, even though he hasn't been taking away the football. Mason McCormick. Afton Forehead brings up the McCormick name. And this is one I had considered in the original discussion about this, right? McCormick is, he was thrust into a starting role and he kind of played over his head at times. And then it tapered off near the back end of the season. So I don't know. That could be something where maybe it's not so much a regression, but maybe it's more of a status quo and we don't progress as a player. We don't improve as a player this offseason, and maybe that right guard spot starts to look a little dangerous for the Steelers. I think that that's a something there to consider. Bree 420 says Jaylen Warren. This is an interesting one because you bring in Caleb Johnson, you bring in Kenny Gainwell, and really, if Jaylen Warren were to, well, let me back up still. You didn't sign Warren to anything beyond 2025. You just signed his tender, right? So he's in and out, or he's out after this year if he wants to be, if the Steelers don't want to bring him back. So that's an interesting one. Do they see, like, maybe we've maximized this guy for what he's going to be worth to us? I still think he can provide something in 2025 for us. But if you don't have the impact that a lot of Steelers fans were hoping for, where it's like, we think he's better than Najee, let's get him out on the field more, give him a chance to be RB1 and see what happens. Maybe he can regress from that potentially. This is interesting. Mason Rudolph as a regression candidate. bro, what are we talking about? Okay, so by now, most of you probably know that I'm not a Mason Rudolph stan. Okay, I just am not. In fact, if it came down to Aaron Rodgers isn't coming and you can't go sign a veteran anywhere, and it came down to who are you starting in 2025, just skip Mason and go to the rookie. Just do it. I mean, see what you got in the rookie. I know what I got in Mason, and it's enough good throws to win ball games if the defense is playing really well, and it's enough head scratching ick and like, what are you doing, Mason, to make me say, eh. So I would not put him in the regression candidate list here, Captain Underpants, but I appreciate the thought. We got some Slay action in here. Brian Z is going to take my guy for a breakout star in 2025 and say Broderick is going to fall off more. We'll see. We'll see. This is great. Mark Cunningham says, for Tomlin's sake, Justin Fields. Again, is this a regression candidate? Because, yeah, he went 4-2 with the team. But if he kind of just stays the same player as he has been the last few years, I don't think Mike Tomlin's sweating it too much. But, Mark, I will say this along your line of thinking. The one move that I thought the Steelers should have probably made at quarterback this offseason was to re-sign Fields. I don't care what that price tag was. Pay him $21 million a year and get him here just to see if that's the guy, because I believed in him. And the Steelers obviously didn't. So that plays into it. And they obviously didn't want to tie themselves down to anything beyond 2025 so they can go after their future franchise guy in 2026. That said, they probably should have gone with Fields. And for Tomlin's sake, yes, Fields needs to not have a great year. For the Steelers' sake, though, kind of needs to have a good year, because you don't need more teams in play for top 5 picks at quarterback. So Fields needs to play just good enough to where the Jets are like, we should probably give him 2026 as well to see if this is really the case, really the guy. So I like it. I like it. Let's see here. Any other comments in this way? Is Big G in the chat? Big G's in the chat. Welcome, Big G. We talked about your boy Broderick Jones in the first part, thinking maybe he could be well, let's put it this way, that he needs to be the breakout star for the Pittsburgh Steelers this year. But let's see. Okay, so my regression candidate, okay? Nobody's mentioned him yet. My regression candidate, because his 2025 season was so unbelievably impressive. It's to me, it's got to be Elliott. It's got to be Elliott. And I don't know what he did last year, but he was insane. And I had no thought process that he was going to be that good. I thought this guy's a little bit of an upgrade on what they've been kind of cycling through at safety opposite Minkah Fitzpatrick over the last few years. But Deshaun Elliott came in, and boy, howdy, he played like a top 10 safety in the league. I mean, he was literally the most underrated player on the Steelers last year. He was a top 5 player for them in 2024, just easily. So, I mean, if I had to predict that, I would not have. So I'm going to say that because it was just so darn amazing last year, I think he's a candidate for a step back in 2025. I don't think he's going to hit a tackle rate of 96% again. That's just unbelievable. I don't know if he's going to have a coverage percentage rate against tight ends like he had last year. He was incredible. I just don't know if he can keep it up. And that's not saying he's going to have a bad year necessarily, but I don't know if he's going to have that, what should have been an all-pro type season, a Pro Bowl type season for this guy. So I got to throw up some of these. These are great comments, you guys. Elliott ate his spinach before every game. Absolutely. Elliott was a beast last year. Absolutely. Most underrated player in the AFC North. Afton, he might be. And then PJ Gildernew saying he was the only guy who laid the wood. Yeah, absolutely. So that's absolutely could be the case that he's a candidate for regression. Big G chiming in here. It's Benton. The rotation changes the game. Okay, so I think he's going back to the breakout star. I think you could be right there. That's a great one too. Keanu Benton as a breakout candidate in 2025, kind of under the radar now that everybody's paying attention to old Cam Hayward and the rookie Derek Harmon. He doesn't have that pressure on him that he did this last year to make that second year leap. Yeah, you could be absolutely right that he could jump out and absolutely have a mega season this year with Derek Harmon and Cam Hayward playing the way they do and the way that Harmon we think he can. Benton stepping in, that could be a really good one for a superstar turn for one of the Steelers players in 2025. Okay, let's go ahead and take a break before we get to the third question. And when we come back, we will talk questions 3, 4, and 5. We'll keep answering these things. It's been a lot of fun so far. If you're listening live, I'm not going anywhere. We're just going to take a quick pause. And then if you're listening on audio, we will be right back after these messages. Stay tuned. And we're back here on the Steelers Q&A. It's a Sunday night live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. If you're not tuning in live, check us out wherever you get your podcasts. And then make sure you go back and watch the live show, watch the video, see my beautiful face, all those good things that you definitely want to do. Okay, so I am posting question 3 in here. Who has the most to prove this season? Which player on the Steelers roster has the most to prove? This is an incredible one. This is an incredible question because I think that there are some storylines here that dictate where the Steelers go moving forward. So you could throw Broderick Jones into this conversation as well. You absolutely could. But yeah. There's some other guys in here already. Afton's got the guy I was going to talk about. But before we get there, Troy Donnerberg says JPJ. Beautiful. Bree 420 says JPJ. Yes, these guys have a lot to prove. Or this guy has a lot to prove, excuse me. Like I mentioned earlier, I need to see him be more consistent across the board, be more versatile in his coverage ability to where he's not just making hits coming up on comeback routes and sticking with receivers because he's grabby down the sideline and breaking up contested catches. I need him to be a little bit more cerebral. I need a little bit more versatility out of him this season. And that may sound ambiguous, but kind of just need more all around from him. So yeah, he's got a lot to prove. Kathy Ford says Omar Khan. This is great. This is a great answer. Yeah, we got to see what these draft classes are actually going to be. We got to see what these free agent signings are actually going to be for this team. And this is year 3, right? This is the year we need to see some things from that first class to see if it's been a part of something to grow on, or if it's going to be guys that you move off of, like we had been under Colbert for the last few years. So, Broderick Jones is the answer to all these questions. Frosty the Bear 69 says again, it's Broderick Jones. He was a reach in the draft and he has a ton to prove at left tackle. Reginald Rivers says the entire O-line. We got a Beanie Bishop in here. I like this. I just don't know, and I'll never believe this under Mike Tomlin. I just don't think that he places a big priority on the nickel position. I just don't think he does. It's not a huge priority for him, and they play it a lot, which is kind of crazy. So we can dive into that another time. But Bree 420 says, I have a feeling Slay here will help JPJ and the rest of the secondary. That could be the only reason they brought Slay in. Really, it really could. So, but here we go. This is the guy I want to talk about here. Afton Ford nailed it. Patrick Queen has a lot to prove this year. He was okay last year, but he was not paid to be okay. He was paid to be a difference maker. He was paid to be the glue piece of this defense. He was paid to be the guy who married the incredible abilities of the front 5, 6 guys with the young upside of the secondary. he was the guy who was supposed to tie it all together. He was supposed to be the next great Steelers linebacker. And I think a lot of us kind of saw it coming to where we didn't know if that would actually be the case. He was playing next to Roquan Smith in Baltimore when he had his breakout year. And again, this isn't to say that he was bad last year. He wasn't. He wasn't bad last year. But he wasn't what the Steelers paid him to be, which is a top 5-6 linebacker in the league. And we need to see a little bit more from him. He's got a lot to prove because this contract, the Steelers can get out of that thing after this year. Easy. They can move on easy and get on to Peyton Wilson as linebacker 1, and then that's a high priority in the draft and this next offseason. But if Patrick Queen puts it together and he has a good year and he starts to grow a little bit more, and Peyton Wilson comes in and kind of those two guys, their growth together makes them both better, this could be a really good unit. But I do think he's got a lot to prove. If he doesn't prove that he can be that guy this year, the Steelers can move on. And I think that they might. So good stuff. Good job, Afton, throwing that in here. I think, yes, Mark Cunningham agrees with you. Once again, Ms. Afton, I have to agree. Queen is the guy. PJ's talking about Roman Wilson, maybe the first con casualty. Yeah, he's got a lot to prove this year too. The only thing is I think that the Steelers are going to treat this like they did the Calvin Austin thing, where it's like, we just don't know what we have in you yet because we haven't seen you on the field. And we know that might take a little bit of time. He's got to stay healthy. He's got to be able to prove that he can know the playbook and run the concepts, be a part of the offense. We'll see how it plays out. That's good. Let's see here. Afton mentions there are plenty of not bad players. I went better than not bad. The thing is that the Steelers can make a good defense work out of good, not bad players, but they do need some more superstars. Their best superstars are getting old, guys. It's just true. Cam Hayward's 36. TJ Watt's 31. Minka's not that old, but safety play drops off around 30, and he's 28 going on 29. So there's going to have to be some stuff done here. All right. That's good stuff. I'm going to type in question 4 here, and this one's a fun one because let's not say that, it's nobody who's a breakout candidate. It's nobody who is going to regress or anything like that. This is just who will be the X factor for the Steelers in 2025. I think it's an intriguing question because there are guys that are really obvious. We've been talking about them. TJ Watt, Cam Hayward. If Aaron Rodgers signs, Aaron Rodgers could be an X factor. If he doesn't sign, Mason Rudolph, right? Or Will Howard, those guys could be the X factor. Afton's got a fun one here. This is where I want to talk about the rookie class, okay? Because I think that this rookie class has a chance to be a bunch of X factors, okay? So Afton talks about Caleb Johnson. I like it. Bree 420. This is good, either really good comedy or an absolutely correct answer. It's actually probably both. But thank you for providing the humor there for us. Broderick Jones. This all 5 of it. Let's see. Question number 5. We'll get to it in a minute. You guys will throw. First person to throw in Broderick Jones for question number 5 gets a prize of some kind. We'll figure it out. We'll make Big G give you a prize, something like that. Who will be the X factor for the Steelers in 2025? Broderick Jones could be the number 2 wide receiver, whoever it is. PJ Gildernew saying that. The tight ends, if they actually use them, yes. Nobody's talked about my guy yet, so we'll keep it going. Oh wow, we've got somebody throwing him under already. Brian Bakar says Broderick is a bust of a first rounder. Not even giving him a chance to start at his primary position before giving him the bag here. So Tony Donnerberg, this is a great answer. Yeah, it's a great answer. Arthur Smith, a really good answer. Mark Cunningham says Herbig. Jared Devil says Rodgers. I mean, these are all good answers. These are great answers. Here's where I want to talk about the rookie class, and I'll give you, a couple different responses here. Derek Harmon has a chance, if he can be a stud right away, to turn what was already maybe the league's best defensive line last year into an unstoppable force. Just an unstoppable force because you cannot block all 5 of these guys. You just can't do it. You cannot block Cam Hayward, Derek Harmon, Keanu Benton, TJ Watt, and Alex Highsmith off the edge. And I'll throw Herbig in there for Mark, who mentioned him as an X factor. You cannot block all the 4 of those guys, the 5 of those guys on the field at once. If Derek Harmon comes in and shows you anything that is like worthy of first round pick, defensive tackle of the future type stuff right away. If that happens, oh boy, watch out for this team. Watch out for this defense. It starts up front with this defense. In 2019, when they were balls to the wall, crazy good, coming after you all the time, just shutting down offenses left and right, it was because that TJ Watt was coming on strong and that front 7 could not be stopped. Those front 5 guys could not be stopped. So, yeah, I think he's a huge X factor for how good this team can be on defense this year. Going to Caleb Johnson, if the style of runner that he is meshes well with how the Steelers teach blocking this year under Arthur Smith and Pat Meyer, and that offensive line gels together, he could be an absolute X factor. He could start doing things, making plays that Najee Harris was leaving on the field because he just couldn't hit them with his lack of explosiveness. Caleb Johnson has that explosiveness. He's got that quickness to get through the line of scrimmage. He's got the power to get upfield fast, to break tackles. He's kind of the full package. And if he's an X factor for the Steelers and that offense can run the ball like they want to run the ball, then it might not matter who's quarterback back there. For real, the Steelers are getting to 10 wins, right? Because they'll be dominant at one facet of the game, and they've got enough speed and downfield threats at pass catcher. Sorry, my head's itchy. To work the play action and get the ball down the field. So huge X factor guy, KJ. After Four mentions his patience and vision as well. So Mark says to me, an X factor is a guy who's rotating. So that's why I say Herbig. Yeah. And TJ Watt's older too, right, Mark? So if he goes down or struggles with injury, or you just need to spell him a little bit more to keep him fresh, Herbig's snaps are going to go up in importance, kind of like they have been every year. And, I always kind of thought of Herbig as the small guy and Alex Highsmith as the big bruising guy. Those guys are listed at 2 pounds separate from 2 pounds apart. I think Herbig's 248 or something like that, and Alex Highsmith's 250. So those guys Herbig's a great answer here. His snaps are going to increase in importance in 2025. He's going to have to be better. That's a great pick there. Dolan with a fun one. Peyton Wilson, one of the year 2 guys. Yes. X factor. If he gets better, so does Patrick Queen. So does that safety room in the middle of the field. Makes things easier for everybody if the linebackers are flying around making plays, and Peyton Wilson's going to be a huge part of that. So, yeah, some of those guys I wanted to mention. You could throw in Will Howard in this, right? If he were to come out and play in a way where the Steelers just couldn't keep him off the field, if Rodgers wasn't here, Brian Bakar says Will Howard, then yeah, absolutely could be an X factor for the team as well. Not just now, but for the future. This might be it. This might be it. So we've got PJ saying, ultimately the O-line is this team's X factor. If it does well, this team can contend. And a big piece of that from Lifelong Fan 07, Fautanu, Mike, he says Fautanu is the X factor. I can buy into this 100%, and you guys are influencing my thoughts here. Troy Fautanu, if Broderick Jones is the breakout candidate or the regression candidate or all of these other things that we've asked so far, has the most to prove, Fautanu, we haven't even mentioned his name yet. We haven't mentioned his name in the show. That's on me, guys. I'm so sorry about that. I feel terrible about that, because this is a guy we need to be talking about. He's an absolute X factor for this team. His upside there is tremendous. They were locked into him from day one as their starting right tackle, and he got hurt. He didn't have a chance to play. That was all the concern with him anyway, was the injury history. Either way, his injury history, if he can't be on the field, that's an X factor for the team because he's not going to be on the field. And what do you do at right tackle now? If he is healthy and he's on the field, he's an X factor because he's on the field, because he's providing you play, whether good or bad, catching up from a missed rookie season, being the guy that they thought they drafted at 20th overall. So there's a lot to like about that answer. I think that's going to be my answer for this one as well. All righty. Final question here. Final question, and I think you guys are going to like it. I'm excited for some of the answers on this one. Who is most likely to make their first Pro Bowl in 2025? Who is most likely to make their first Pro Bowl in 2025? Bring it. Tell me. Put Broderick Jones in this chat. Put Broderick Jones in this chat. I need to see it. This is a great one. Armand Perone. I hope I said that right. Sorry if I did not. Frazier. Yes. Give me some Zach Frazier as a Pro Bowler. I need it in my life. We got people screaming it. Bree says Zach Frazier. Mark Cunningham says Zach Frazier. We need some Zach Frazier Pro Bowl talk. I think he's absolutely on track for that. He could be an all-pro at the end of this year. What do we say about that? We got Afton saying Peyton Wilson. These second-year guys, yeah, these second-year guys are such big-time X factors, such big-time potential for some of these guys. Absolutely would love it. Down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier. This is the answer. Right? This is the answer. So I think that him getting a chance to really establish himself as not just one of the best centers in the league, but one of the best players on the Steelers, I think that that's a great answer. Yeah, Deshaun Elliott. PJ, you're absolutely right. He deserved it last year. Highest tackling percentages since that stat was a thing. Yeah. He was unbelievable. He didn't make the Pro Bowl. Minkah did. He didn't. So he deserved it over Minkah, in my opinion. I think that that's not really a controversial take inside these walls, right? I don't think he's ever been. So, and at very least, he hasn't been with the Steelers. So we'll give that to PJ either way. I have a CA3 in here from Lifelong Fan 07 and also from Reginald Rivers. It could be, if he ends up taking the wide receiver 2 role, that would be great. I don't think Pat Freiermuth's ever made a Pro Bowl, right? I don't think he has. I'm going to have to check this now because I'm concerned I may be wrong. But I can find out real quick on Pro Football Reference, but I don't think he's ever been one. So that would be a good answer here too, is Pat Freiermuth, especially if Rodgers gets here, right? And Mark Cunningham, I think, confirms that no, sir, he's never been to a Pro Bowl. And I'm pretty sure that's right. So if Aaron Rodgers gets here, he loves to throw those seam balls over the middle to the tight ends. He made Robert Tonyan look like an all-pro one year in Green Bay. And then let's see. It was hit or miss with the Jets, but they didn't really have a good tight end. So I think if Freiermuth could be in that conversation, that would be a good one. JPJ. That's a good answer here too, because he's kind of had some close calls, right? His rookie season, I thought he was deserving of a Pro Bowl. And then last year, I thought he kind of regressed a little bit. It could be that he – sorry, I saw Mark Cunningham text in here and a comment in here. It's good. I'll bring it up in a second. But JPJ regressed a little bit last year. I think that he could – if he can improve, he could have one of those type seasons as well. So, yeah, a lot of these answers are the same. Say Broderick Jones, right? Somebody say Broderick Jones. Oh, there's a 77 in here. So I like it. If Broderick Jones has the breakout season that we talked about, potentially he could have, then yeah, he could be in that conversation as well. To me, this has to be somebody with some name recognition, who's been in the league a little bit, who people have been talking about already. So that's why I go with Zach Frazier, because a lot of people, a lot of pundits, a lot of national guys were already saying, oh, this is one of the best centers in the league, already one of the best, guys at the pivot. That's what everybody likes to say these days, guys at the pivot in the league. So that would be my pick here. But I'm trying to think about some other guys here. Sam Malu's never been to a Pro Bowl. I don't think that's happening for the Steelers. Yeah, I don't think anybody else is going for the first time in Pittsburgh. Patrick Queen's already been a Pro Bowler. Peyton Wilson could be. I think somebody said Peyton Wilson. Alex Highsmith has made a Pro Bowl, if I remember correctly. It may have been as an alternate, but he did make a Pro Bowl. Let me see here. Let me see if I can pull that up, because it wasn't pulling up for anybody else here. No, he has not made a Pro Bowl. That's a great answer. Highsmith has never made a Pro Bowl. This is a great answer here, that he could be that guy. He could be that guy who gets his first career Pro Bowl here in 2025, because I think he's deserved it. The season that TJ Watt got hurt, and so 2021, I believe that was the season, or no, I'm getting it mixed up. 2022, I think is actually that one is. He should have been in over Watt, because Watt got it even though he only played half the year. Smitty should have it. Yeah, Afton says Smitty should have it. So that would be awesome if he could get that done. If he could get in, it would be validation for what has been an outstanding career for him. For him, that doesn't get a lot of national attention. So that would be great. Keanu Benton, let's throw him in this mix as a third-year guy that needs to take another leap. There's a few guys here that would be a lot of fun to see them make a Pro Bowl, but I like these answers. I'm going to go with Frazier as my pick here. I don't see that Alex Highsmith has one, so that's should have been that 2022 season. He had 5 forced fumbles. He had a pass defensed, 20 QB hits, 14.5 sacks. Doggone it, that's a Pro Bowl year in anybody's book. He's a Pro Bowler in my opinion. PJ Gildner knew. Do you consider making a Pro Bowl like Russ last year, or should that have an asterisk next? Definitely an asterisk. That's ridiculous. The Pro Bowl, like, to me, I only count it for guys who deserved it, and there's been a few of those guys that have not. Tyler, backup quarterback for the Ravens, Tyler Huntley, never should have gotten in the Pro Bowl. Now, I realize it was between him and Kenny Pickett that year, and Kenny Pickett didn't deserve to go to the Pro Bowl either. So we got to redo the Pro Bowl and the voting for that to figure it out, to get guys in who are deserving. Yes, all the asterisks, please, for Russell Wilson last year. Guys, that's going to do it. This has been a good conversation. This has been a fun one. Appreciate the interaction. You guys nailed it with a lot of these. And I think that we'll do more of these sometime. We'll do more of the me asking the questions to you as well, because I think that gives a lot of context for this and a lot of good conversation. We'll have somebody on the show with me next week, back to regularly scheduled content, if you will, and we will get all your questions answered, as we always do here on the Steelers Q&A. Afton asks, life update for all of you. How's the reno going? It's going very slowly. Lots of rain over here. Some delays we've had from materials and things like that. So it's coming along. The addition is about to get roofed in and will be dried in there hopefully by the end of this next week. Hopefully. It hasn't been going that way, so it may be a couple weeks here, but once we get ourselves dried in, then we'll be able to bust this thing out. So appreciate the question. Appreciate all you guys listening in, tuning in. I'm in my daughter's room tonight. Sorry, over here. C for Callie, not for I don't know. It's not for anything else, but happy to join you guys as always. And sorry for dragging this out. All right, that's going to do it for me. Thank you all. We will talk to you next week here on the Steelers